Mic check, I'm good. So I'm Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
All right, so I'm Max Ceron. This is a first edition of our CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest that I've known for a little while now, more through the internet than in person, but that has been becoming more and more until COVID happened anyways. Then kind of everything got slowed down in the person-to-person stuff. But I got Kevin Roy, okay, you say it.
It's yeah, Kevin Roy.
So
Just like the goalie.
Like the goalie, I was gonna
Yeah.
ask. So like that, everyone kind of knows who that is. So Kevin Roy. All right, I got a weird Spanish name.
Yeah,
so.
as long as you try, I'm okay with that. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being on the show today. The reason I picked you is because with this podcast, what I'm trying to do here is trying to get some connections that are not the standard connections that welding has always been, and I think you're a good example of that. You've been welding for a few years, and you also have a pretty good online following, and I think that's something that people coming up are interested in. So let's start a little bit with what do you do? Like, how long you been welding? What's your main gig now?
I've been welding for almost 15 years now, professionally, and I guess I would consider myself a do everything kind of welder. Whether I'm doing a stainless handrail or I'm welding pipe or I'm doing repair work, I'm pretty fortunate that where I work, every day is a new day.
Yeah, do you do a lot of maintenance and stuff at where you work?
Yeah, a lot of maintenance and repair is kind of the main gig. We kind of pride ourselves on doing grain elevator builds and maintenance, but I would say we don't turn down an opportunity.
Yeah, and those are really fun shops. I've worked in shops like that before, and you're kind of learning new stuff all the time, and you kind of have to think on your feet because sometimes you just don't have a clue what what you're getting into, but it's got to get done, right?
Yeah, there's a saying, it's like the best way to get a job done is to get started.
Yeah, it's like when I used to work in a shop with big drawing packages. It was like 30 pages, and you catch a guy just standing there looking at the prints. It's like, maybe we should just pick a spot and start, because like this is gonna take forever to look at, and you're right, sometimes you just got to get going.
Yeah, definitely start small, find the smaller parts. Those parts go on to bigger parts, and those big parts get assembled into bigger things. So that's the way I usually do it.
Right on. And one of the things that's really fun about what's going on in your career is that you take a lot of pictures and you put a lot of stuff up on Instagram and on the internet. And we were talking a little bit before the show started here about kind of, the gig that you got going on, and it's quite cool. And you were saying that one of the best reasons, or one of the good reasons that you love about having this Instagram community, is that there's people you can reach out to ask questions.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm very fortunate that my employer lets me do that and share my work. When I first started out, I followed the big welding pages, of course, and I saw a lot of inspirational things, but you're kind of left sitting there staring at pretty rainbow welds. But then eventually I thought, maybe I can reach out to some of these people. Like my stainless TIG and my aluminum TIG really wasn't, up to snuff. So I reached out to the guys that were getting featured, and sure enough, I got answers, and then I could ask for help. And now I feel like my welding has progressed. I've grown, and now I get those messages. So I do my best to help those guys out as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've really noticed that in my almost 30 years of welding now, there was always this communication. You hear the old guard saying, well, there's no community in welding. Where's the community gone? And it's like, no, dude, the community's out there. Like, I mean, people are still connected. Welders love to show off. And welding is a hard gig, right? So like you got like, what do they say? You gotta have the heart of an artist, the hands of a surgeon, and the eyes of an eagle. I don't know. There's like some cool saying about welding like that. And it's true, right? Like you got to have these skills, and we're proud of the work we do when we do good work.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. There's a lot of pride in what welders do, because it's not just, and I'm not knocking any other trade, but welding is unique, where you have to use your hands, you have to use your mind, and you're always thinking on your toes. So when you put out that work, it's you, it's your signature, and you can't say, I didn't do that. Well,
What are
yeah,
you
you
talking
did.
about? Like when you see the guy in the shop carrying the grinder, you're like, oh.
Yeah, when it's the 7-inch, something went bad.
We were just talking about that at work. We just threw out a bunch of 7-inch discs. It's like, who even uses 7-inch grinders anymore? It's like, well, people that make mistakes.
Yeah, those who got a lot of grinding to do.
Yeah, man. So when you started welding, your kid coming up, you're working, you were doing your shops, you probably pulled MIG somewhere and, did the normal things that people do. At what point did you think that, hey, you know what, I'm going to start taking pictures on Instagram and putting things up? Or kind of was it always part of how you just live?
It wasn't really part of anything when I was coming up. And actually, I'm kind of a rare case where I got a job literally the weekend after I left school, and I'm still working there now.
Oh, yeah. You've been at the
So
same shop the whole time?
That's right. Yeah. So a lot of guys bounce around, which is completely cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I've never said no to an opportunity where I work. So if it was getting tickets, if it was switching it up a little bit, maybe trying, more site work versus more shop work. But if I'm honest, 75% of my welding these days is MIG.
Mm-hmm.
I am a MIG monkey at heart.
Well,
So,
and it's necessary. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's quick. If it's big, feed it the MIG. That's what they say, and it's true.
Yeah, it's always like the would you rather, right? You get caught up on that on the other end. Like, would you rather stick or TIG? It's like, well, okay, would you rather? But at the end of the day, we all know that if you want to make money, it's going to be on MIG.
Yeah, definitely. And you kind of mentioned about Instagram. That's only been in the last couple years, because I kind of felt like we talk about community. I kind of felt disconnected myself because I didn't have anyone showing me what to do. I didn't have somebody above me saying, well, you should try this, you should try this. And the shop I am working at, started taking on bigger projects, more stainless, more aluminum, and I needed to step it up. So how do I do that? Who's going to teach me? YouTube can only take you so far. Most of us welders, visual learners, but when you can reach out to someone, ask those questions, and they answer you back, that's how you can grow. And that's kind of how I've grown.
That is a thing too, like people will say, well, you can just get your education off YouTube or something like that. But in all honesty, a lot of the stuff on YouTube's not real good. And a lot of it's not great, and a lot of it's the same. You're like, how many times can you see a guy run this bead 50 different ways on 50 different machines? Sometimes you just want someone to just say, look, just tweak here, tweak there, and the only way you can do that is to show your weld.
Absolutely. And there are those guys out there that pride takes over, and some people are rude, but it just comes with the territory. I've been turned down a few times, but that's exactly it. I'll even take videos of myself after hours, and this is what I'm doing. These are my settings. This is what I'm getting. And then you have those guys that say, okay, well, maybe turn it down, maybe speed it up. It's like just like an instructor would in a booth,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I like about it.
So have you been able to capitalize on any of your internet fame? Have you ever like you got the hat on? Did you get any weld pouring gear? You got any? Have you like? I know that's a lot of part of it is the swag, right?
Oh, definitely. Just sharing my work. I've got companies that reach out to me, and that's not what I got in it for, that's for sure. But it's nice, I got the CK Worldwide shirt on. I got the Weld Life hat on. I do have weld porn gear. I was fortunate enough to get a boot sponsorship for a little while there, which they gave me 2 good pairs of boots. So things do come. Again, it's not what you should go for. If it comes along, that's great. And I've learned that it's not, you can't show off this weld and then boom, you're a sponsored welder.
Yeah.
And sponsorship comes with its own different ball game, which
Yeah.
right now I'm more than happy to just represent, those guys that support me, and that's about it.
And that's a big part of the community, like we keep talking about of welding, is that I got some sponsorships on the go too, and I have for a while, and people have asked me even with my work, because my work, I'm not a guy who's only worked one job. I've bounced around, and kind of whenever a new opportunity presents itself, I'm like, man, let's do it. That looks super challenging and fun, which has taken me all over the world doing crazy gigs, right? A lot of the people will ask me like, well, how did you do that? And how did you do that? How did you get that opportunity? And it's like, man, it's people, it's the connections you make. It's the things you do. And there's no price on that. And, if a company wants to send you a couple shirts to wear, awesome. Cause you're promoting them, like you're helping them out and they're helping you out. It's not just all about dollar bills. It's about being out there and helping everybody out. We're all in it together. And, it's pretty fun, right?
Oh, I definitely agree on that one. And it's a mutual respect and a mutual support. And sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big thing in the game. But it's you've got your skills. It's where are you going to put them, and how are you going to use those?
So now you say you do a lot of MIG work. I mean, and everyone has to. It's part of life. Um, if you had a chance to open up your own shop, like right now, tomorrow, here's $2 million, you can go start your own shop. Would you do what you do now, or would you want to get into something else or some type of niche? What's kind of like, where do you see Kevin in 20 years when you got, bucket loads of cash and you're looking to settle down here?
Yeah, the bucket loads of cash is where you got to. I just need a small million to start out. Um, I honestly, I wouldn't, I wouldn't close myself off to any opportunities or any side of the things, side of welding that you know I might not like the most. Because listen, after that small million, what else is coming? You got to keep the doors open. But I'm really into the more artistic side, the more finicky side, the more I don't know. I want to say fancy, but
Fancy's a
that's in
good
the eye
word.
of the beholder, I guess. Yeah. So and doing fancy stainless handrail, doing art projects, doing you know, I just I like more focused things. I like more refined things. I can still fix a dozer. I can still, throw a bucket together, but I'd rather do the other stuff. A
Yeah,
little
and
easier on the body,
it
a
is.
little
It is.
nicer on the mind.
Yeah, then you get to think a little bit more, get a little bit more creative, and we had this talk, I think, last year when we were at a CWB Association meeting, where you have a pretty artistic mind. You do some really pretty things, and I'm not built that way, really. Like I'm more of a industrial thinker. It's just the way I was raised in the welding trades. I can make something pretty if you give me the blueprint for it to be pretty, type of thinking. But I don't really have the creative mind. But like having that artistic ability in welding, there's a lot of people that are really monetizing on that, or just having a nice little side gig of being able to do things. I've had some students get into some weird little niche businesses just out of their garage, and they're doing pretty good, man. And it's like they say, this is the future. We're in the 2020s. Everyone needs a side hustle now. You don't just have your main job. You got to have a hustle, or else you're not going to get ahead. And man, I look at your stuff with the stainless, those little flowers you make. Oh man, I could never have the patience to do that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I remember speaking to you about it too. And yeah, it's one of those things where I used to make them, a whole different version of them. Really, I don't know. Now I look at them and I say they're terrible. I show them to my family. They say they're awesome. But I started getting on Instagram and seeing what people were doing and how they were doing it. And I was like, well, you know what? I can do that. Let's try that. And yeah, my roses and my lilies have progressed, and I've made succulents now. So I'm still progressing that. And now that I have my welder at home and I have the tools at home, it's just finding time. Family, work, and side hustle balance is where you gotta find that balance.
Yeah, and it was an exciting day for you when you got your new welder. Your unboxing video was pretty fun. There, you were like just dancing in circles around the thing. It was awesome.
Yeah. I've been trying to win a welder on Instagram since I got on there, and I just had to pull the trigger. Like, okay, enough of this. It's not luck. I got to go out. I got to buy it myself, and let's see where this goes. And not saying too much, but it's paid for itself already. So I'm quite happy about that.
That's awesome. Well, how old are you?
I'm 35.
Oh, so you're not even that young. I thought I was talking to a young man.
No, I act young, the straight brim hat and the happy-go-lucky attitude. But I've got a small family here, and it's been a trip.
Yeah, I know, that's good. It's a good gig. And just thinking about you and your tools, like I just picked up a new drill press for my little shop, and it's just feels good to have your tools around you. Especially when you love what you do. You can go work and you're welding industrial for 8, 10, 12 hours, and you're tired, but every now and then you get out to the garage and you just have some like a me time with your tools, and 2 hours later something cool pops out of it, and you're like, wow, that's neat. I didn't even think I was doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big thing. And welding's a passion, like I went to mechanic school for 2 years and I thought that was my thing, but I had a project car. I'd go wrenching and then come home and would not want to wrench anymore. So I kind of leaned towards welding after that, but I never get tired of welding. There's always something different to do or something different to try. And having the tools at home is huge. And it's funny because now people see what I can do. People see what I post. They see that I have my own stuff, and I get calls like, hey, I got a bunch of scrap at the house I'm going to throw out. You want to come check it out? I don't need to check it out. Throw it in the truck, bring it over, because I'll find a use for it.
Yeah, that's so true. I just got into that pitfall this summer where I knew a couple guys working out on farms, and they started asking me, do you want any of this old spring steel? Like, yeah, man, I got like a backyard. I probably got 400 pounds of spring steel in my backyard now. That's all right. I can make a lot of cool stuff out of it. Absolutely. All right, so we're at the halfway point of the show here. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Kevin here. We're going to be continuing on this interview, so just hold on tight.
The CWB Group is offering a hydrostatic testing course at our Nisku CWB training facility. This course is a must-have for all personnel involved in the planning, execution, and inspection of hydrostatic testing. It ensures that everyone involved in any given hydro test will have the same baseline training and safety protocols across Canada. This course covers a wide range of topics related to pressure testing, with a specific emphasis on hydrostatic testing of oil and gas pipelines according to CSA, Z662, and other applicable Canadian regulations. The 3-day course covers the theoretical background and practical aspects of pressure testing. The hands-on practical exercises are unique to this course, and individuals will learn how to calculate different variables related to hydrostatic testing. Course highlights include testing theory, establishing the safe pressure test requirement and environment, test setup and sequence, test instrumentation and documentation, practical demonstration of pig launching and receiving techniques, practical demonstration of burst test. Space is limited. Register today for the first Canadian-focused hydrostatic training course.
All right, we're back here with Kevin Raw. Probably said that wrong again, but that's all right. You probably have that all the time. We've been talking on this show about, kind of the paths and where you're at. Now, going forward, you got any kind of things on your minds at your shop? You've been there a long time. You supervisor, foreman, thinking maybe someday having your own gig or buying this one, or I know the man you work for. It's a cool place, been around a long time. So
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's I've reached kind of the top of where I am. I'm the upper crust of the employees kind of deal, and I do help out wherever I can. I'm kind of in a weird place where I'm 35 years old. You kind of start. I'm not saying midlife crisis because I'm too young for that.
are you
But
kidding
you start
me? I had like 3 by then.
You start looking at things a little bit differently, and it's every welder's dream to have their own gig. And lots of opportunities have come up, end of last year, beginning of this year, and then COVID came and put a stop to everything, and more than everything, things I didn't think about, COVID affected. So I'm kind of still in a weird place, but I'm happy where I am right now, and I make a really good wage, and I get to do something different every day. So something else comes of that, that's great. If not, I've been dabbling a little bit, in the fancier things, like I've been saying, and that could lead somewhere one day. So I'm happy with that too.
No, it's all good. And, we touched on COVID there, and that's something that, it's definitely a conversation. So in your work, how was your shop since March? Things slow, fast, the same, up and down? You guys floating? Like everything's all right?
Things are okay. Like everybody else, when that hit, we weren't sure day to day what was happening. News was changing every day. And unfortunately, we did have to do some layoffs, and I was fortunate to still keep working. But the bigger companies that we were doing work for, they had to shut down. They had to shut down sites, and that kind of slowed us down quite a bit. And it was touch and go for a while, but things have definitely picked up now. We've brought some guys back, and I mean, we diversified. It's not saying no to an opportunity. So if something came in the door, let's figure out how we're doing it, and let's do it.
Yeah, let me tell you, man, I've been hearing that across all the industry that I've been talking to. Adversity creates diversity. So things are tough, and the good shops with the smart guys and the hard workers, they find the work. They find things that need to be done. And the thing about steel, it's never going away. Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beautiful things about our trades. One of the things I'm always preaching about when I'm out there with young guys is like, I've never been unemployed. Like, really, I've been really, really, I don't know if it's lucky, because our job is not really that lucky. It's hard ass work, but I'm happy to be in this line of work because it's worked out for me. And like, look at me now, I'm getting paid to talk on a microphone. Like, what the heck? Like, how did I go from being a welder to this, and I still weld.
You're getting paid for this?
Are you kidding me? Everywhere I go, money falls. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna need a CWB shirt after.
Hey, you know what? I think I can maybe make that happen. You wear hats. I think maybe hat can come your way.
Absolutely. No, it's great to hear that, and you are right. It's when you have a skilled trade, there's gonna be a need for it. Sometimes you got to be patient. Sometimes you got to put yourself out there, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about what's happening with like testing and CWB and all that stuff? Do you feel like you are part of the community with CWB? Do you feel like they're just a testing place? It's curious on my end to see kind of what people's opinions are of the Canadian Welding Bureau.
Well, really, up until the last couple years, and maybe this tied into Instagram and me kind of connecting with you in the local community, I didn't really feel that connected. And it was just basically, I have to get certified. Tester is going to come in, you're going to do your stuff, and you need these tickets to basically do any kind of structural steel in Canada. So it was just about testing. But now that it's kind of progressing and I got to meet with some of your guys, I kind of get the community feeling. We still have some work to do in like bringing guys together, because some guys still feel like, oh my God, like, oh, he works for that company. This is a competition. Like, why am I here? Like, I don't like these guys. But I'm kind of on the other sense of things. Like, yeah, we have competing companies, but we're all welders and we can kind of relate and move past that.
Yeah, and we there's more than enough work for everyone because every shop's got their own gig, right? Like, I mean, I've worked closely with big companies like Brandt, and I've worked with smaller companies that are coming right out of the dirt, basically with just a couple employees. At the end of the day, there's enough room for everybody, and
Yeah, there's lots of work out there, and we don't all do the same kind of work, and we don't all do it the same. So, I mean, we can all eat. We can all sit at the table.
You bet, man. You bet. And eat some wings and beers. Man, I'm missing going for beers and wings. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
even
like,
now when you go out, it's weird. It's not the same.
and that's okay. That's okay because things are happening and things change, and even like if you look at the welding world from when I started welding in 1993. I mean, God, that's a long time ago. 93 was my first year welding. To welding today, it's a whole new world, and you just keep up with it and you just keep moving with it. And you know what? The real world changes too, so we'll adapt and we'll do what we got to do, and it is what it is. So it's all positivity. Everything I see out there, all the right people are thinking about the future and changing what they got to change, right?
Yeah, I like that you said that it's constantly changing, and you got to keep up. You got to look out for those, the new technology or how this is progressing, because we're not all just burning jet rod anymore. We're not all in a big smoky shop. It's
Yeah.
things are progressing. Like even in the whole pulse and cold metal transfer, SST, all these things. It's just all brand new and it's exciting.
Yeah, that Fronius meeting was crazy. I still think about that, man.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was so cool seeing that technology and meeting all the guys there.
Yeah, and that's something I really want to get going here too, because I mean, I've been blessed. I've been able to go down to Cleveland to the Lincoln, the school down there, and take their private training at Lincoln. And man, it is nuts too. Like the things that are going out there, machines that we can't afford, so we'll never see them in our normal lives. But they're sitting in some research center. It's like $100,000 machine. Putting on the helmet and getting to play with that stuff. It's cool, and that's kind of what I want the association to be a part of.
Yeah, I agree. It's inspirational, right? So if you can have at least one person go check it out, and that person shares their story with the local guys, it's like, hey, not right now, but maybe one day, and here's what I can show you.
Yeah. So like you got yourself an Everlast welder. I'm going to ask, how do you like it so far?
Not sponsored. This is not a sponsor.
No, I know. I see it behind you, so I got to ask, man.
Yeah. I love it. I've only used it in a 110 outlet. I've never popped a breaker. I've done some stick welding with it. I've done some TIGging with it on DC, and it's been really good. I don't have any complaints thus far. I haven't used it on AC, and I've heard that sometimes you get a little hot, you get the amps up, and you know, we'll see. We'll see. I can't speak on AC yet.
Yeah, no, that's good because it's part of that new tech, right? Like I bought myself a little toy over the summer too, but it was a little bit weirder adventure because I'm a weird guy. But when I was at FabTech last year, I seen all these little new Chinese companies coming up, and they're coming up big, right? And I wrote down the name of one of them because they had lots of cool little machines that I was like, "There's no way these things are all just hype." And I bought one, and it was like $250 or something, $280 shipped from China to my house. And it's lift arc TIG and stick up to 250 amps, and it weighs 3 pounds.
Yeah, I've seen those. They made their rounds on Instagram there. Like a lot of people YouTubed about them too.
Yeah.
And
So I've been burning mine all summer, man, and it's kept up. Although I run it on 240. Like I got to run it on 240. On 110, it ain't so good. But on 240, man, I burnt rod after rod. I've been like trying to flip it, trying to see if I can break it. Well, for $250, it's an experiment, right? And and it's still going. I've been like, man, technology is nuts, you know. And I think it's awesome because, you know, if you're a young kid and you can go out and buy a welder now for $250, $300, and this thing is actually going to be pretty solid. You know, you can sit in your backyard and make brackets and sell them. You can go make tables. You can make hangers. You can supplement your income with a simple skill and a cheap little machine. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely awesome. Like, you know, I picked this Everlast 200 DV because of its options and its affordability, because I know what I'm going to be doing. I know what I want to be getting into. But you're absolutely right. Like, for $250, you can't lose. Even if you're just interested in welding and you want to get into it, why not? Why not?
So how often do you think someone reaches out to you on the internet to be like, hey, Kevin, what do you think about this? Like, I notice a lot of people ask you think about stainless. You seem to be fielding a lot of questions about that.
I almost daily. You know, it's a community and people check in on you. You check in on people, but I usually get at least one question a day about how I do things or how I would tackle something. And, you know, I do not mind answering. And I'm not always right, but I'll share my experiences. If I don't know, I will point you to a guy that might know, you know, like.
I feel like I'm that second guy a lot because I don't think I'm that approachable, but people that know me aren't scared of me.
Yeah. But on the stainless kind of side of things, it's just people see the pictures I post, and not a lot of guys post the failures, and I'm guilty of that. You know, I post the hot weld, but I usually got help from somebody to get it there. And now that I've figured out my own way of doing it or tweaking it a little bit, I just share that side of thing, that knowledge. So it's not that I'm the expert, but I'll point you in the right direction.
And you don't do a lot of live feeds, like you know our buddy Chris there. I think he's out in Yorkton. Man, that guy puts up like hour-long time-lapse work jobs. You know, it's crazy the videos he puts up. You're more of a still picture. You got more of a, you know, you're kind of a photographer. You kind of get fancy in there.
Yeah,
you got your tags in there.
Yeah, we're speaking about Chris Pates out of Weyburn. Yeah, very skilled guy, very skilled welder and technologist. From what I understand, he's got a bit of his own gig going on there, so he can set up the cameras. He can kind of get those things moving. My shop where I work's kind of fast paced, and you know, you don't want to be that guy with your phone out taking pictures all the time. You know, not everybody's doing it. You don't want everybody doing it. I get that. So if I can get a few shots, a few before and afters, that's what I can do. And again, maybe more in the future with my welder at home, I can get into that. I did a few live feeds when I was making roses and lilies, and I had all of 3 or 4 people drop in, and most of them told me off. So that kind of turned me off for the minute, but we'll see.
Yeah, man, the trolls, you can't can't
No.
do anything about it. I did that webcast series for CWB. I got a lot of cool responses, but I got some ugly emails too, man.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you don't gotta tear people down. Keep it positive. You don't and it's the old saying, but if you don't have anything nice to say, and don't say it.
Yeah,
Right?
or if it's something not nice, at least explain why. Like, what are you freaking out about? You know, like.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, people message me for help on the daily. I got haters on the daily, and usually I ask questions and I turn it into a positive thing. And usually I ask them, like, where's your hate coming from? So, oh, I'm a pipe welder from Australia, and we never do that. It's like,
Cool.
I'm from Canada, and this is what I do.
I had an instructor from another college once call me out and be like, I don't like the way you teach. It's like, well, I don't know. Like, no one really showed me how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
All right, man. Well, that's a half an hour. That's it. Like, I mean, that was super fun. What did you
Yeah,
think? Good experience?
it was a great experience. Like, that went by super quick. Let's go an hour. Let's do another one.
Well, you know what I did say to them? Like, I want to have recurring people because this is going to get out there. And, you know, I'm going to say this to the people that are going to be listening to the podcast. Ask your questions. With these podcasts going up, there's going to be all the Instagram tags and the online connections. So, you know, reach out to Kevin, reach out to me. And if you got questions or if there's more stuff you want to know about Kevin, ask it up and maybe we can set up another show. I want this to be a communal space. This is going to be on YouTube too. And we're going to be hitting up all the podcast channels. So in the next month or so, we should be rolling with lots of different editions. I got a few more people coming up already invited and booked. So it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, this was great. And I like where it's going. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Whatever you need, I'll do my best.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks a lot, Kevin, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the show.